Kel, you said tonight was a beautiful opportunity and you've absolutely taken it. Your thoughts on what you've seen from your team tonight?
Well, it's a beautiful evening. A very tough match. We knew a top opponent to play against. And yeah, we had the first 10 minutes a bit shaky where we had to adjust things, and credit to them because they break our press and they had true situation they could run and they are very dangerous there. And after that we grabbed the game a little bit without creating, apart from the two big chances of Victor, too much, but more control in the game. And the second half, the way we started, it was amazing. We really turned things up. We were very efficient in everything that we did, and I think we deserve to win the game.
So what did you say or maybe adjust at half-time? Was it one for an old-fashioned rocket, or was it more kind of a tactical aspect to it?
Rocket is great, but it's not enough. Against them you have to be really meticulous and understand really well the timing of things when you do them, and everybody working together to achieve that. And we adjusted, and the times were right, and then the players were super efficient in what they did. So big credit to them, because against this team is not easy. You
spoke beforehand actually about the importance of being ruthless against a team like that never knows when it's beaten. Was that key tonight when you got your moments? You had that spell in the game where you took almost every chance.
Yes, and that's the difference. You know, we have created a lot of chances in the last few weeks, and we needed scrappy goals to win the games today. The quality of the finishing and the way we put the ball in the final third in the box, it was top, and that made a difference.
And I think I asked you beforehand, how important is Gabriel Magalhaes? How important is Big Gabby, not just as a defender, but with all the other stuff he brings?
Right.
We saw
today, he was a great example. He comes back after 6 weeks out. It should have been probably 8. He comes early, straight away in the team against probably one of the best strikers in the league, and how difficult it is to mark him, and the impact they had in the game, I thought it was tremendous.
So just to clear something up, Mikel, from the end of the match, you went to shake hands and Unai Emery had already gone down the tunnel. It didn't seem like that kind of match. Have you spoken since?
No,
have you cleared things up? No, any issue from your point of view?
No, not an issue. I mean, sometimes we are in this moment, no problem at all.
Okay, just to finish off then, how beautiful an opportunity, to use that phrase, is 2026 for Arsenal, looking at where you are, top in the Premier League, top in the Champions League?
Well, it's been a great 2025 in the personal level, professional level. The way these guys and the club and the staff made me enjoy my work every single day. And 2026, we know what we want. We're going to have to work really hard for it every single day, but I think we're in the right trajectory.
Thank you, Mikel.
Thank you. Have a good year. And you.
Did we see tonight how much you've missed this guy?
For sure. I said after the last game straight away when they asked me about him, at the moment he stepped on the pitch, you could see the difference of, our back line, the way we defend. This guy loves to defend the same way I love to attack. And then obviously he loves to score goals as well.
So your teammates have missed you. How much have you missed being able to help them out on the pitch?
First, I want to say thanks God, because it was a bit difficult days for me. And I always want to help the team, but now I'm so happy to be back. And yeah, I think today was a brilliant day for everyone, how we work together. And yeah, I think we need to keep going, and yeah, we are so happy.
Team then, and on the score sheet tonight, when you consider that Aston Villa arrived at the Emirates Stadium, the form team in the Premier League, having won 8 in a row in the league, 11 in a row in all competitions, did you expect a scoreline like that?
No, I didn't expect that. Not the way Villa have been playing, especially in their second halves. But I do know what Arsenal are capable of, and the chances we even showed at the start of the game, the chances that are being created, especially by Saka, and they've not been taken. But today was different. I thought the captain Odegaard was fantastic. Obviously, Gabby Magalhaes coming back and being in that team is always going to make us stronger. Same with Saliba. When we played them, when we played Villa, we didn't have these two players, and it was like a basketball match. It played into Villa's hands. But today, the way we played, we felt like a lot more control, especially like the guys were saying, Villa was slowing the game down, wasting time. That was getting people frustrated. But then you just play through that, and once the first goal came, you kind of felt like there could be more.
Jimmy, before the game, you made very big points a couple of times about, this is Arsenal Football Club. They shouldn't just be winning games 1-0, as they had been labouring, the last couple of matches. Are you not entertained?
I was entertained today. And that's how I have to be entertained. And that's how Arsenal has to play. And they deserved everything they got today. and they didn't help back after the 1-0. And that's what my argument was. They get in front, their nose is in front, and then they are scared to get a goal against. And instead of not thinking about it and just play for the second goal. And then when the second goal comes, play to make the 3-0. Punishing teams off. Don't feel sorry for teams. Punish them off. Go and get yourself another goal. Feel good. Because next match, you still have that feeling, but it starts at 0-0. And when you have got still that feeling of being in that right zone, you go different in matches. And today, they did the opposite that they have been doing before. And that was really good to see.
Yeah, and against the Villa side, as we mentioned, was the form team. And also, I think for a lot of people, the fact that they had moved up to third, an opportunity tonight to move level on points with Arsenal with the victory on a ground where they have done well in the last couple of seasons. Just how big of a statement does this feel like from Arsenal for you?
Well, it's a massive statement, and it's even more of a statement to Villa, to let Villa see the levels that you probably have to get to. I think Villa will have learned a lot by that because, like you asked me, I wasn't expecting to be 4-1, especially, like I say, the way Villa have been playing. But Arsenal, they are in a good frame of mind. You know what I mean? They haven't been scoring as many goals as they should have, but they have been making chances. And for so long as you're making chances, then, you know, it's up to people to take them. And if you take them, you are more comfortable in the game. Yeah. We've done that today, and that's why we look more comfortable. Hopefully, going forward, we can do the same, because I don't want to sit here thinking it's only going to be 1-0 and thinking, are they going to score? Like we've seen in previous games, are we going to give away a goal to like a Wolves or something? So I would love to see them play like this on a weekly basis, but it doesn't work like that, especially when you're going for the league.
No, you're right. It doesn't always work like that, but it doesn't also always work 1-0 and go and defend.
No.
You know? Today, they 1-0 and they kept on going. They kept on pressing. They kept on playing in Aston Villa's half. And Aston Villa could not come out. And then opportunities come. And what they did really well, they punished them off. You know, Trossard, great goal. Odegaard, great pass for Subimendi, you know. And Jesus, when he came in, you know, very direct and took his goal really, really well. Yeah. And at that time, when Jesus scored, there were 6 people of Arsenal players around the box. And that is refreshing to see. Yeah. And that has not been in the past.
See an Arsenal side playing some football, playing some expansive stuff. And in the end, after the goal, you know, they really did start to play, and they really did take Villa apart tonight.
Jimmy, it was so close at half-time, goalless then. Arsenal seemed to just shift into another gear, and now they're 5 points clear at the top.
Yeah, and deservedly so. Onana had to come off half-time, and you could see the difference. But nevertheless, take nothing away from Arsenal's performance in the second half. They looked a lot sharper, they looked a lot stronger. Obviously, the 1-0 helped with Gabriel from a set piece, and then from there they didn't look back. And this is the Arsenal that I want to see. When they score 1-0, they go for that 2-0 and 3-0, and that's what they did today. And they got the 2 and 3-0. And they just looked after the 1-0 so strong, so superior, so much better, and in control. Second goal was a hell of a goal, beautiful goal, with a beautiful pass from Odegaard. And well done, Arsenal.
Huge result for them. Celebrations all round at the Emirates Stadium. Gabriel Jesus, how delighted are you for him? His first Premier League goal in a year. I'm
absolutely delighted for him because, you know, it's a long, hard road. You know, I've seen players on that journey. You know, especially a player his future's in the balance. What's going to happen? Is he going to come back to as good as he was? And what we've seen up to this point, after being out for a year, is that he's looking sharp. And it's great to see him get that goal. You know, it's great to see him coming back now at a time when we do need all the players back now to do their part. And he's come back and he's given us a little bit of energy when he comes into the team. It feels like there's a little buzz, a little bit of energy about him. And it's great to see him get his goal. Fantastic to see him get a goal.
Perhaps that could come in the second half. It didn't. Arsenal were emphatic
Yep.
and really cemented their place now at the top of the table at this really crucial point in the season.
Yeah, I think there's been a little talk over recent weeks that they've needed own goals and they've had some tight victories that weren't kind of, flowing properly as we're used to seeing Arsenal. What it was to be how they kind of progress through a game and get better going on. Arsenal didn't allow it. Too strong, too aggressive, too thorough, too strong off the bench as well, and important players being back, Gabriel being an absolute beast of a defender, not just the defensive side, of course, of what he does in the box, attacking set pieces as well. So strength throughout, hunger throughout, desire throughout, and just weren't allowing Villa any type of momentum shift, which is what they've used over the last 4 or 5 games.
Well, speaking of the momentum shift, which is what we expected in the second half, it came from Arsenal, not Aston Villa. What did Arsenal do different in the second half that allowed this scoreline?
They allowed their football to play the tension out of the game, and they finished the chances and got the goals, and all of a sudden you saw the difference in the goal in the two teams. People coming off the bench made a difference. But if I can talk about the two Gabriels, and I'm talking one, the defender, who's not only an outstanding defender and what he does defensively, he brings a spirit to this football club that they miss when he's not there. And then Gabriel Jesus coming on with that goal, with his first touch, could be so important for Arsenal to have somebody like him around the football club as they go into the second half of the season, with Gyökeres not scoring goals particularly. And I saw one shot which I thought was really interesting right at the end of the game, where Gyökeres went up to Jesus and was the person who's slightly disappointed tonight. It's Victor Gyökeres, because 4 goals have gone in for Arsenal and he's not got one. And that's what he was brought to do. But this squad, this group, are going to win it through goals coming from different areas of the pitch. And if they would end up winning the title and Gyökeres only gets 8 or 9 goals, that's still a job well done.
OK, well, you mentioned the two Gabriels, so let's hear from them both. For Arsenal, and 2 pretty proud players there, and as they should be. 4 goals, bookended really by those 2 players. How key are they to Arsenal's squad?
Well, I talked about what Gabriel, the defender, brings to the team in not just defensive work, but the set pieces. I mean, every set piece that goes in, he's involved in. You can see the Aston Villa players are so nervous around that. But Gabriel Jesus may have a really important role on days when it isn't working for Gyökeres, or they play a slightly different team or different formation. He's a title winner with Manchester City. He's a sharp, incisive. He's had time out of football that he would be thinking about, getting back in and what he can do. So that's a really big bit of business. Let's not forget Kai Havertz is another player who can come back as well. So the bench is stacked, and the bench will play a big part of Arsenal going to win this title.
Declan Rice wasn't playing today. They've missed certain players throughout this season, and I think Lee Dixon talked about it in the commentary. The squad is so strong, they're missing nobody. Almost like anybody can be out. Saliba's been out, Gabriel's been out, Havertz's been out a long time. The star players have been out, but they can bring people in. Martin Odegaard deserves a mention for me as well, because he hasn't been playing great. The last few games when they needed him to step up a little bit, I think he's been excellent. He assisted a brilliant ball into Zubamendi for his goal, scored last time at the weekend. He's really starting to find his form. You add that to the squad and to the new players, and big Gabriel coming back defensively, they're going to take some stopping.
They are. And now they have the... what's so interesting, as we were speaking about it before we really began our coverage today, you look at where Arsenal were a few weeks ago, they had a chance to really extend their lead at the top of the table, and then you look at where they are today, and they had a chance to be caught by Aston Villa. This
was big today. This was a statement. This was like the nervousness and the people talking about the pressure and everything closing up. That was, against the most informed team in the Premier League, and they put 4 goals past them. And I think that's another step now to go into 2026 and really push on again and trying to get that gap that they had, what was it, like 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, not only did they put 4 goals past them, but they put all 4 goals past them in the second half, which has been Aston Villa's strongest performance in their recent games. It wasn't a clean sheet, though, for Arsenal. Ultimately, Ollie Watkins did.
They bring goals around.
Of course it is, and, Gabriel there and Gabriel Jesus are massive players for them. Gabriel at the back, centre-half, we talked about leaders and, how they go about. They've missed him massively since he's been out, and, tonight he was colossal. Obviously getting the goal, but, his all-round play was fantastic. He marshalled Ollie Watkins. Of course, Ollie scored, but, he was fantastic when he was on the pitch. And, Arsenal have got a fantastic squad, probably one of the best in the league. We've alluded to that as well. So, if they can keep these players fit now, going into, like you say, the January's, March, February times now. It's going to be vitally important when you come to that back end of the season. You know, we've seen it in previous seasons where they've fallen away. If they can get everybody fit, you know, they're going to be a team to everybody wants to beat.